Hey everyone, so I am halfway through my intern year, so I wanted to provide some feedback, some insight that I've gained while being, halfway through. It's honestly not been as bad as I thought it would be. I'm actually worried that the next years are going to be harder. I feel like everyone has been very supportive, even on the plastics rotations versus the general surgery rotations. I feel like all the upper levels have always I feel like I would get more in trouble if I didn't ask for help versus asking for help. And that means it's really like I'm just learning and everyone understands that. So a lot of it, I was worried coming into intern year, like what can I study and all this stuff. And there is stuff that you can study, like for plastic surgery, you can go over the essentials of plastic surgery book and learn the basics. But a lot of it's just like what the hospital allows, like how people do certain things, like preferences of attendings, preferences of hospitals, little things that they do in Epic. And that's kind of hard to predict before going into residency. So I wouldn't stress too much. If you're a fourth year right now, and I guess you guys are still, some specialties are interviewing, plastic surgery interviews kind of late, at least they did last year. So enjoy life after. I don't regret having fun and, going out and doing fun things before, like my little mini trips that I took just as like a last hurrah before starting residency. So I'm good. I'm glad that things have not been too stressful. The hours can be crazy and they can also have some light moments. So enjoy those light moments and take care to learn from all the very stressful moments too. I've definitely had some oh crud moments, and you just learn I had an MI on a patient and I didn't even know how what were the steps, you learn the steps, okay, these are the medications you give, this is what you do, but I don't know how to call the MI team, and now I know. So you learn these little things as you go and take notes of them. And that one's going to be pretty much ingrained in my head, but other stuff I would just take notes as you go. One thing that some people had taught me is that you should take notes in either a Google Drive or OneNote. I'm debating in my head right now which one I'm going to use. I've been doing both. I kind of need to consolidate into one, but just taking notes on things that you learn as you go, and that way, you can add on to those pages as you go throughout your years, and then you have a very good study guide as you go. So try and study a little bit every day, which I honestly does not always happen. So that is something I need to work on. Sometimes I'm just too tired when I get home, but I'll try and be better about it. I think also one thing, then I asked some attendings, what recommendations do you have for interns? And they were work hard, play hard, work your butt off, but also enjoy your life. Your life doesn't disappear, and try and be as efficient as possible. So, there will be downtime between cases, and learn how to multitask. And, I think being able to access a lot of information on your phone is pretty essential. I can look up patients, I can see updates from other teams through my phone, and that can help me stay updated on the patients that I'm managing, because as an intern, your main job is to basically manage the floor. People will have PAs and Ps who can also help with that, but for the most part, it's the intern's job is to learn to manage the floor, which I think is essential whether you have an NP or PA or not. Also, treat every NP and PA with respect, and all the nurses with respect. Anyone that you interact with in the hospital, actually just, don't have any sort of power trip or anything. Treat everyone with decency, because you never know, one, it's the right thing to do. Number two, you never know when you're going to need them. It's a horrible thing to make enemies in the hospital. I would really avoid it. I'm trying to be as pleasant as possible. There are definitely times where I'm too tired and I don't want to be as cheerful or something. And you don't always have to be cheerful, but just always be respectful. So someone told me that the way that you'll be remembered in this hospital are your first 6 months and your last 6 months. And there's probably truth to that. So my first 6 months are up. So, we'll see how they remember me for that. But I am overall pretty happy with how these first 6 months have went. I think a lot of it, I didn't do as much research in this time. I actually didn't do any research during this time. I decided that I loved research in med school, but I wanted to take some time to just adjust to residency because this was a huge adjustment for me. And it's also a surgical residency on top of that. So I knew it was going to be a big adjustment plus the hours. So I'm taking it lightly. There are other people who didn't, and I don't think there's any right or wrong answer. I think it's just whatever you feel comfortable with. With a lot of things in life, that seems to be the answer, but I'm happy with it. I've learned a lot. I've gotten to meet some very interesting patients. I love all my attendings. I'm very thankful for the co-residents that I have, and that's not me just BSing, you know, like, I think a lot of residency, it's not, I know there's this like thing about how you care about hours, and they're very stringent about hours, but I think a lot of it is like, who are you spending your time with and how are you spending those hours? And there have been rotations where the hours have been heavy, but I've been surrounded by amazing people and I've been doing things that I really enjoy. So the hours will fly by and I don't really mind it. So I think just having people that you are sincerely like happy to be around is really important. And I think if you can somehow elucidate that while you're on your interviews, that's fantastic. I think it's kind of hard to tell though, because everyone puts on their best self during interview days. But if you can find people that you know, get along with, I think that's huge. I think also, like, I'm glad that I got lucky and that the other surgical specialties that we work with are pretty great and we don't have any animosity, because I know that there are some places where there will be like not the kindest attitudes towards other specialties, but so many of because I do so much general surgery, at least for the first year, I'm really grateful that I have such great co-interns who I get along with, who we hang out with. There's no like drama, honestly, so I like it. I'm really thankful, and that's not something I thought of when I was applying. So halfway through intern year, I will keep you guys updated, and you know, let me know if you guys have any questions. Okay, thanks.